guys. It's Angie Yingst and it's July. I'm here for your July reading. So I'm a tarot reader and an earth medicine practitioner, shamanic practitioner, crystal healer. So I'm coming in with your July reading. So I take kind of the energy I'm feeling and then pass that wisdom on to you so that you can have some allies to do some work with. So I give you a plant ally, animal ally, and some crystal allies to work with during this time to help support you. And here's some of the great spiritual work that we're dealing with. So I pull cards and I use kind of my intuitive shamanic stuff to bring that forth. I like to start with some astrological connections here. So that's why my glasses are on. I'll take them off in a minute. So we started June with some really intense planetary energy because there were tons of retrogrades and we were going into Mercury retrograde. So the beginning of June we had, and it was very watery. So May was super watery. June was watery, moving into a different feeling. I still feel like there's water around us. I actually brought my water wand to kind of clear our energy. But yeah, it still feels watery, but in a different kind of way. And I feel like it feels watery, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about it because first of all, we're in Cancer. And so that's just a watery energy to begin with, but also we're releasing, and releasing has with it grief and other things. So when we work with water, especially when we work in the west of the medicine wheel, we're releasing so much of that energy through water. So tears, okay? And expect that. And if you can sweat, that would be another great thing. Like anything where you're releasing water out of the body, drinking a ton, like if you're not drinking a gallon of water right now, start doing that. This is a great way to release and just kind of carry out toxins. Okay, so let's talk about those retrogrades. So Mercury is in retrograde until July 12th. Venus was in retrograde in June and came out like June 22nd. So you should start to feel some of that difficult energy in relationships start to ease up a little bit, which is wonderful. Saturn's in retrograde, and Saturn's in retrograde in Capricorn. So I think right now it's in Aquarius, will move to Capricorn, or it just moved to Capricorn. It's hard to as non-astrologer, I'm reading different things on different people's blogs and their interesting insights and stuff, but these two signs, Aquarius and Capricorn, are going to be, this is really intense for them. And so Saturn is the Lord of Karma. It deals with karmic connections and ancestral lines and clearing ancestral karma, discipline, your relation to rules and work, and also to boundaries. Okay. And that's going to be your personal work that I feel like is going to be super important this month, is doing some of that work around boundaries. Which is always interesting. So we have Saturn in retrograde until September. Also, Pluto's in retrograde, Neptune's in retrograde, Jupiter's in retrograde. Let me see what else is in retrograde. Well, Mercury will come out of retrograde. So we are going to feel some of that really intense June energy kind of lessen up a little bit. Your important dates in terms of the moon is the full moon's July 5th. That's the Sunday. And that's going to be in Capricorn, which, will be, there's also a lunar eclipse. So we're still in eclipse season, which, for some people is really intense. I'm still feel like I'm recovering from eclipse season from 3 years ago, but it just, eclipses affect people differently. I'm a Capricorn, so we're in Capricorn, for this, full moon. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. The new moon is going to be in Cancer. That's the second new moon in Cancer. And that's happening on July 20th. And so I think that's all I have here. So there we go. So let's talk about what guides have come forth. So death is our card of the month. And if you haven't listened to my podcast, I'm having some great conversations with people, but my last one with Kira Pauls, we talk about tarot, and we talk about specifically cards like the death card, because we tend to sugarcoat it as tarot readers and be like, oh yeah, death is about transformation and change and all of that, which it is, but you actually have to go through the process of death first. And that's important, okay? That's important to remember, and it's important to know, because that process of releasing is the process of death. And it's not about the transformation. That comes later. That's another whole other thing. This is the process of letting go. And I wanted to kind of talk about this a little because as a shamanic practitioner, when I did my shamanic training, Vulture came in as my guide. And, I work with Vulture a lot, especially when I'm working on releasing, right? And that's kind of how Vulture came in, said as a healer, you're going to be releasing, helping your clients release, get rid of energy, take things out. So Vulture kind of eats the dead things in us, right? So we sometimes intimately work with Vulture in death. So when I went into Journey to connect with Vulture, basically vultures were all around the area that I stopped to connect with them. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready for my dismemberment, Vulture. And they're like, no, you're not. You're still alive. And I was like, oh boy, I don't know how to disconnect from my body. And they said, well, you must, we don't eat live things. We don't kill things. We need you to let go. We need you to let go. And I'm like, I have no idea how to do that. And that was like a big, huge spiritual understanding for myself to say like, okay, I actually don't know how to let go. I don't know how to accept things as they are. I don't know. I'm like trying to keep everything alive. That doesn't work. So I'm going to ask you to kind of work with this chakra between the heart and the solar plexus. It's kind of right here, and you can use the color chartreuse. I don't think I have any chartreuse colored stones, but like serpentine is a perfect color stone for that. Not one of the guides that came up this month, but you can definitely work with it. And that can be a portal. That chakra can be a portal for you to astral journey, to leave the body. And when you leave the body, then you can work on like you're disconnected from the trauma and the somatic experience of being a human. So you can actually connect with what isn't serving you anymore, what's stuck on the body, what's dead, okay? Which areas are collecting dead energy. So death is asking us to grieve, to feel the weight of release, to feel the weight of what we're letting go of. It's one thing to say, I want to let go of all authority and all connection to authority and, fuck that, right? But then what happens? How do we actually do that? What comes in? So death is asking us to feel what that means. What does it mean for you personally to let go? So there's a good journaling questions for yourself is like, when I actually release this, what does that mean for me? Like, how am I going to feel? Like, it's great to release relationships that aren't serving you anymore, but there's also a lot of grief that comes with that. There's also that energy of like, now you're living, and that means you don't call that person. You don't do that thing anymore, right? When we release our need to be unkind to somebody or to have an unhealthy relationship with someone, now that means you don't be unkind anymore. So these are hard things to kind of reconcile because, yeah, we all want that. We all want to let go of those bad habits. We all want to let go of those bad ways, those ways of being that drain our energy, that aren't lifting us up, that aren't helping others. But then what does that mean? In recovery, we kind of say, then what are we going to be if we release all of our character defects? Then we're just the hole in the donut. We're not the donut anymore. We're not of substance, but that's not true. Then the substance that we are can be of service to others. So, and whatever that means for you, I don't want to get too recovery here, but, we do focus on the fact that we are of service. We're people of the light who are of service to others. So that can be an important part of releasing, like, what is it that you want to call in next? And, before that, we're kind of in that that middle place between releasing and calling in, where we have to feel the weight of what we're letting go of. Okay. So that's important. And then what was interesting, and it's kind of funny because Kira and I were joking about how death cards were butterflies, but actually butterfly did come in as the guide this month, as what we're going to be doing our shamanic journey around. For those of you who are a part of the membership that get the guided shamanic journey with me, butterfly is your guide this month. Butterfly has powerful medicine, especially like in this time. For those of us who are in the northern hemisphere and we're going through summer, we have tons of butterflies and we're calling them in right now. But we have to remember their lives are, they have many transformations, and they also have a short, beautiful life, right? Beauty-filled life. So we're kind of calling in that energy. As your plant medicine guide, chamomile fell out of the deck. And I have tons of chamomile in my garden right now. So I was super excited about that. Because chamomile, this is the time. If you don't grow chamomile, it's just such a generous giver. This is a gentle energy. So I believe that Spirit's asking us to be really gentle with ourselves. And also butterfly is super gentle, as a pollinator, it's giving to a community. It's not, some butterflies don't even eat their entire life. They're just jumping, right, from flower to flower as a pollinator. So, so we're coming in gently with this releasing energy. So we're using Cancer to help release and let go of all the things that are already dead. You're not asked to let go with the death card. You're not asked to let go of stuff that can live. You're not asked to let go of things that can flourish. What you're asked to let go of are the things that aren't alive anymore. The things that we're trying to resurrect that are kaput, they're dead. I just keep thinking about Monty Python's. That parrot is no more. What is no more in your life that you keep holding on to and trying to like prop up, like Weekend at Bernie's, trying to keep it looking alive? That's not okay. So don't think of this as I have to figure out what I'm releasing. There's something that's dead. It's gone. All right. This is about facing reality as well. Not just about figuring out what I have to release. Yes, we all have stuff to release all the time, but this is the dead thing, okay? This is the thing stinking up your life, okay? It's not a thing that's like thriving still. It's not even something that has breath left, okay? If it has breath, it's not dead. It's the thing that's dead, okay? And I'm saying that, and I'm saying it in harsh words because I don't want to be one of those healers or teachers that's like, you got to figure out what to release and you'll figure it out. No, this is the thing where we got to start pulling up your bootstraps, sucking it up, and figuring out what's dead. It's dead. It. Now it's time to just look at it for what it is. And sometimes doing that disembodied, where we're leaving. And so when I did that, where I kind of left the body through that portal, I floated above as a light being. Again, trying to be detached, or not trying to be, but being detached from the experience of being a human, which can be really hard because we have pain and hurt and traumas and things like that. When we disembody, then we're looking at things from a higher level, okay? Really important. Your guides that are coming in as medicine guides in terms of stones are, first, black tourmaline came in for a cleansing. So death and black tourmaline go together beautifully. Death also rules Scorpio, so another watery sign. So when you're using black tourmaline, you can use it as a protection. You can use it for clearing. So the cards I used this time were actually the Crystal Medicine Oracle, which is more of a shamanic oracle deck. It is by Rochelle Charman. So this one, her connection is feather. Okay. So she's cleansing with feathers in the energy field. So I would work with Palo Santo, or I would work with white sage is another guide that comes in, but I really like Palo Santo for this deeper, more watery work too. So you can use black tourmaline both to wear, to carry with you, to cleanse the energy fields, any grounding work you can do. And the next one that came in was fulgurite, which is, fulgurite's a crystal that's basically made by a lightning strike. So you can see it's pretty jaggedy. It's like all the sand and dirt that gets struck by lightning, it becomes like a crystal. It solidifies because it's such high heat that it melts it. This one is it's probably sand, so there's quartz, and it was polished up. So I love this piece. It holds the energy of lightning. So lightning is a great visualization. So if you can collect thunderstorm water during this time to use in spell work, to use for cleansing, to do any healing work with water, do that. That'll kind of, fulgurite can be a little challenging to find. So think about using lightning in a different way. But it is about that sudden change, right? That in the tower, we see that lightning bolt come down. This is really about the challenge of change. Again, this ties so beautifully in with death, because we're kind of looking at the challenges to change and to releasing. So fulgurite's a great ally for that. And then the last one that came in was shattuckite, which is it's a very turquoisey color. And wolf has actually come in. So secondary guide, wolf is here, and this is the teacher. So we're learning a lot of lessons, and this is another one for Saturn retrograde, is that we're learning these lessons during release. So shattuckite is a copper-based stone, and this is a chrysocolla. So some of this blue color in here is shattuckite. So that's why I love chrysocolla, because you got cuprite, you got shattuckite, you got some turquoise, you might have malachite, you might have chrysocolla. So they're all like together, and they're hard to separate out sometimes. So if you're having trouble finding shattuckite, you can use chrysocolla. You can use any of the copper-based stones. And again, this is another one a great one for the throat, great one for the heart. But these are learning those lessons and integrating those lessons. So for those of you who are doing the shamanic journeys with me via my membership group, I will be sending that out, and excited that you're going to be working with butterfly, and that medicine is transformative. Obviously, you're moving from different stages, right? You're moving from the earth to the air, and that'll be a powerful experience. One of the things that they found is, when they're doing research and studies on the transformation process from caterpillar to butterfly, when they open the cocoons up, there's not like a butterfly unfolding inside of a caterpillar. The caterpillar literally kind of turns to goo, and it completely transforms. So that's important to know, because we're basically going from this earth base, like you're on the earth, you're on the leaves, you're on the trees, and then you're transforming via like a liquid into a butterfly. And that's all air, right? So these transformations can be powerful metaphors for us who are studying animal medicine, because that liquid time, there's still consciousness there. And it's important to remember that when we're like in that cocoon phase, we still have wisdom and consciousness. And so we're going to kind of be working with those images this month in Journey. So I'm so happy to come here and share this wisdom of July 2020. Thanks, guys. Oh, and to read more and to find out more, just go to my website, angieyingst.com, or themoonandstonehealing.com. Thanks.